Hey there, Coach Patrick here from Endurance Nation with a promotion for our Ironman Texas 4 Keys of Race Execution free talk that I'll be doing mere days before Ironman Texas of 2014 as preparation for you to get ready for the race. Here inside Endurance Nation, we focus exclusively on race execution, what it means to take the fitness you've built and the system you've created over the past several months and put it on the race course and be able to drive it from the start of the swim all the way to the finish of the bike. It's something we excel at. It's something we've been doing since 2007, and it's something that I'll be talking about in great detail on the ground in the woodlands I believe it is the Thursday before the race. So full details to come, and you'll find them here in the link below me on the video. But I wanted to give you a taste sort of what I'll be talking about. And there's a couple critical success factors here in Ironman Texas, and I'll talk about one for each discipline so you know. On the swim is typically wetsuit optional, in that if you are competing for Kona, you are not allowed to wear a wetsuit, but if you are just competing for the finish, competing to complete, then you're okay to wear one. In that case, a couple things to think about. If you are wearing a wetsuit and the temperatures are warm, you will need to significantly prepare beforehand and at the early stages of the bike to make sure you've done your best to get the fluids in because you'll be sweating a lot more than normal inside that wetsuit. Okay, and also commensurately, if you're not swimming with a wetsuit, be aware of how difficult it is to stay floating and how easy it is for you to be bumped off of your rhythm, out of your routine. So when you're making that decision about, do I or do I not wear a wetsuit, for me, it's not so much about the fluids, because you can always get the fluids back. It's more a function of how comfortable you are as a swimmer, if you're okay in the water or not. Another side tip there, if you're going without a wetsuit, do your best to find a kayak by the starting line, because treading water for 8 minutes is actually pretty tiring for most of us, and you'll want to chill out, okay? Now, critical success factor on the bike. Ironman Texas bike, I have my fastest Ironman bike there ever, 456, I believe, and it's a direct result of knowing the course. And so Ironman Texas takes serious patience. In no uncertain terms, Ironman Texas is kind of like a gigantic reverse P. All the way out, that long leg of the letter P, everything is fine. There's no issues. You're cruising, you got a slight tailwind, life is good. As you start to make your way around that P, you all of a sudden start to encounter the wind that was behind you is now coming at you as a cross or crosshead. And in that place, you start to really feel it. And that typically comes about, you start to initially feel it about mile 56, mile 58, and you will feel that wind all the way through about mile 80. So there's a period of time, roughly about 24 miles on the bike, when if there is wind, which more than likely there will be, you will feel it there. Okay, you will feel it, and you will feel it really substantially. And then after mile 80, you get closer to town again, the wind dies down a little bit, and you'll ultimately be able to kind of pick up your speed as the terrain tips downwards as well. So despite that wind, etc., you'll be okay. So when I tell people to think about the Ironman Texas course, I don't want you to think about a finishing time or anything else. I want you to focus exclusively on what it's going to take for you to be really successful in that critical part of the day where it's really windy and really challenging. Okay, and that means great nutrition in the early miles. It means a good aero position and the patience to stay in that aero position, and also obviously the physical means, so you can actually ride through that portion of the course with purpose, with a goal, and not to get lost. For many people, about the 4-hour mark in an Ironman is where things start to go mentally a little loose, and that coincides with this section in Ironman Texas. So I want to really be kind of mindful of that area. Then finally on the run, the Ironman Texas run is great. It's 3 loops. I think it's very fair. There's lots of different terrain changes. You're in the shade, you're out of the shade, you're on a path, and you're lots of people. You're in a quiet, secluded area. You kind of get a little bit of everything, and I really enjoy just how diverse the Ironman Texas course is. That said, it's not easy. It's still 26.2 miles. And when I think about being successful on the Ironman Texas course, I really think about staying cool. If you've done your job eating and drinking on the bike and pacing yourself properly, the run is going to be what it's going to be. And one of the biggest challenges that people face is coming off the bike with that wind and then moving into the run. The transition from riding a bike with the wind on you to running without the wind, the metabolic cost increase with running versus cycling means that a lot of people really struggle with keeping their core body temperature down. It affects digestion, affects pacing, affects brain function, heart rate, all sorts of things. So, excuse me. When I think about being successful at Ironman Texas on the run specifically, you want to stay cool. I recommend wearing a trucker hat. It holds ice in it. It's not floppy. It's got a nice big brim. You're going to be able to take ice in your hands at every aid station, wipe yourself down, stay very, very cool. Do your best to keep your sneakers dry the best you can, but definitely spend the majority of your time keeping that core body temperature down. Some people wear those shoulder the shoulder wings to kind of keep the sun off their body, want to be aggressive with the sunscreen, whatever it takes. But the cooler you can stay, the more successful you will be. Okay? So that's it, the 3 tips for me from Ironman Texas 2014. If you're interested in learning more and getting a full free 1-hour talk about the race execution, how to make the most of your day, please plan on attending our free Ironman Texas 4 Keys of Race Execution presentation in the Woodlands. Information and details on the link below. This is Coach Patrick from Endurance Nation, home of the world's largest online triathlon team, 2013 Ironman Tri Club World Champions, and home of the First Finish Guarantee. We are your age group triathlon resource center. Thanks so much for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you guys online or perhaps even at Ironman Texas. See you guys.